This episode of the Royal Insider is brought to you by Covenant Health. Covenant Health, the official sports medicine partner of Johnson University Athletics. Welcome to the Royal Insider, another edition, our fourth edition of the Royal Insider, which is the official podcast of Johnson University Athletics. I am your host, Brandon Perry. I'm also the athletic director here at Johnson. And with me, as always, is Addison and Logan. And we're glad to be here. It is official. We are in our fall preseason now. It's here. It's behind us. We've had 1 week of practice already. We're into week 2 now, and we've got scrimmages coming up this week. Like, it is time. It is time. So for sure, I think right now you go out there. I haven't been able to watch many of our teams practice so far, but they seem excited. I know. Logan, you got a little bit of B footage, I believe.
Yeah.
So what has been your take so far on practice?
It's looked good. It's looked like everyone is having fun. Not as much whenever they're doing their conditioning work.
Yeah.
It looks like everyone's pretty excited for the season, and it's getting me excited because I think it's going to be a really good year this year.
Yeah. As a player, preseason is the worst.
Yeah.
Right? Is it not? It's just brutal.
It's not fun because that's whenever you're trying to get everyone back in shape from the summer and everything, and it's the worst.
Yeah, I know. I would really like to spend my summer eating donuts more than I did running. Yeah. So it was not a fun experience whenever we got back and having to do that. What was your the worst in your playing time? The worst running drill you had to do?
Okay, so the worst running drill I had to do was Dave Serrano's first year here. I played under him, and in order to practice, you had to run a triangle under a certain amount of time. And so we had to go from home to the foul pole to center field and back through home.
Yeah.
And it was brutal. I did finish first in my group, but
well, look at that, of course.
Yeah, but it was pretty brutal.
Yeah. We had to run those when I was playing at Milligan. I think we would do. They were sprints. These aren't jogs, and we would do 7 to 10 of them at a time. It was awful. Addison.
Oh, gosh, definitely suicides. I can't.
Yeah.
I hate those. It's my nightmare right there.
Yeah, they're terrible. We used to, when I was coaching here, I would sometimes when we have to punish kids, most of my kids never got into trouble, of course. They listened to every word I said. But we would lift the curtain up. For those who don't know, our gym is really 2 courts back to back and has a curtain that divides them. And we would lift that curtain up, and we would do suicides, but you had to touch the lines for the other court too. So it was pretty brutal.
There was one time in one of our Fall World Series games with Dave that he didn't feel like we were really giving it as much effort as we should have been. So he put the whole team on the foul line in left field and had us run from the foul line to the fence and back, and we had maybe 10 seconds to catch our breath, and we did that for 30 minutes straight. And I don't think I've ever seen so many people pass out on the ground, just want to just lay there at 8 o'clock at night.
Yeah. I'll be honest, as a coach, I mean, as a player, I hated the conditioning pieces. But as a coach, probably my favorite part. I really loved making people run. It was pretty awesome. One of my favorite days still in all of basketball, not our national title. It was a day that I took our team out behind us. Judah, my son, who is now in 6th grade, was with me. I guess he would have probably been, 5 or 6 when this happened. And he was in. Me and him were in a golf cart, and we took our whole team to this hill behind the building. And my guys had a 45-pound plate in each hand and had to run hills with it, while me and Judah sat on that golf cart and just laughed. It was it was the best.
Yeah. I'm sure your players loved you for that.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure they did too. But it's all about, you do hard things, right? You do hard things, and there's something about that like you're going through it together. Even now, I think of the times when I played, I don't remember games very well. But, man, I remember some of those brutal conditioning days. The one in particular was at Milligan when I was playing baseball there, when our coach Danny Clark, who's with the Rangers now. He took us to if you've been to Milligan, the gym, those steps up to the gym, they're huge. It's like Rocky Balboa huge.
Yeah.
Like there are just so many of them. He took us out one day and he said, it was before Thanksgiving break, and he said, "Boys, I'm going to teach you to not eat." And we just ran those steps. It was sleeting like the whole time. It felt like we were out there an hour. It was probably a good 20, 25 minutes though. But I remember taking like the last 2 or 3 steps before he said stop. And I was like, this is it. I'm done. Like I'm not playing ever again. I'm moving on.
Well, there was one time I remember my coach would make us run, and over and over and over again, she'd say, "Pain is temporary. Pain is temporary."
Yeah.
And I'm over here like, is it though? Because I'm dying. Like, I don't know if that's true or not.
I don't know. But it's good, like mental practice, you know. And a lot of people do that. Again, I picked up a tactic from Nick Saban, and that I thought was really brilliant. But when we would run and condition, and just in practice in general, our guys could not put their hands on their knees. We wouldn't let them. They had to stay upright no matter what. And it was just the toughness of, I'm not going to bend over. I'm not going to show pain. Mm-hmm. And I'm sure there's some psychologists out there that would say that is horrible, now. But I think our guys really, like, I don't know, I hope they appreciated that. If you're out there and you're one of my players, leave a comment saying you appreciated that. But yeah, preseason is where we're at. It's exciting. This is probably my favorite time of the year to some degree. I would say as an administrator, it's not my favorite time of the year. There's a lot of work to be done right now.
Yep.
But I think as a fan, as a coach, especially though as a fan, I really love this time of year. And the biggest reason is because I'm a Cincinnati Reds fan, and most of my time frame as a fan has been disappointment. But in the preseason, there's no disappointment. Yep. Everybody's got a shot, right, at that point. So I love, like, coming out the beginning of the year, and it's everybody, like, has opportunity. There's so much hope, right, at the beginning of the year. I think at the end, there's a lot of disappointment, right? Just a lot of disappointment. And I love the fact that at the beginning, right, you have this hope that is out there, this path that you think, man, this is what the season could be. I don't know. For me, that's exciting. And I feel like we see that in our teams right now.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Just listening to coaches and what they're saying and how good our teams could be, I feel like, man, there's just a lot of hope on what this season is going to look like. And I think that's why, like, I don't know, I think that's why we focus so much on development right now, and not just development as a player, but development as a person, right? It's the hope of what you could be. The hope of what is to come, the hope of how you can turn out. And at the end of the day, most seasons are disappointment. There's only one team in any league and that isn't disappointed in their season, right? There's only one champion. That's what it comes down to. So that's the team that isn't disappointed. Most everybody else is to some degree, and that's why I think sport is pretty pointless if it does not include some form of development. If your goal is just winning, you're probably going to be disappointed with that. And really what team is about, what sport should be about, is the concept of community, not winning. It is about bringing this group of people together and making it something bigger than you think it could be, right? So I know it's kind of a weird term to think about, community, when it comes to sport, but I don't know. For me, I think it's everything. I'm assuming for you guys, the part that you remember in sports is the community aspect. It's the team piece, right?
For sure. Some of my best friends to this day are people that I played sports with growing up. And just some of my favorite memories were playing travel ball. And it wasn't the tournaments that we played in, but it was more the experiences that we had outside of playing the game.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's where people kind of get this mixed up. Like, community, when we talk about it, it's often about where you live. You think of community and your neighbors and all those kind of things, but really what community is about is the common spaces we share, right? And what a team is that common space, this thing that is probably a huge part of your identity. And here we are all coming together in this one spot. Community is just, I don't know, it's long-term, right? It's long-term. My neighbors in my community, they tend to be a part of my life for a long time, for whatever reason. As a matter of fact, this week even, we had a church party at my house, had all the kids come over, and we rented this big inflatable slide. And my neighbor, April, sent my wife a text message saying, "Hey, can I come and play?" Right? That's what neighbors, that's what it looks like, right? We're together, we're in the shared space, and it's long term. And for sports, a lot of times the way we consume it is for the short term. It's about the satisfaction of the moment, about my need right here, right now. And really what sports should be is something that is communal, something that lasts beyond the game, something that forms bonds that never end, at least to some degree. And that's our goal here. We want to build community. Yes, we want to win. Yes, we want to compete. But above all else, we really want to just build community and make sure that our players know that 20, 40, 50 years from now, however long it is, they still have a home. They still have a place to turn to. They still have that community. Well, we got a great show for you here today. Coach Bryon Lawhon is going to be here from women's basketball. This is our final show in this segment of shows where we're talking about our national tournament team. So we've been interviewing all of the 4 coaches that their teams qualified for the national tournament. And the last one, obviously women's basketball, Coach Lawhon, in just his 3rd season, becomes the co-champion of the AAC regular season, with tying with Milligan University, which was exciting. And being able to go and qualify for a national tournament in the first time in school history. So I'm sure we're going to have a lot to talk about, and we'll get to that right after this break. So we'll see you back here in just a few minutes.
What does strength in numbers mean to you? At Covenant Health, it means we see nearly 2.2 million visits annually. It means our 13,000 dedicated experts are all working together for a common goal. With over 150 locations throughout East Tennessee, you'll always find an open door to care, because we are committed to being the first, best, and strongest choice for the one number who matters most. You. Covenant Health. Let our strength be yours.
Well, we're back, and before we get to our interview with Coach Lawhon, let me take you through what's happening this week with the Johnson Royals. And last week we made a handful of big announcements that now are starting to pop up on our website. So first and foremost, let me tell you, if you want to know anything about the Johnson Royals, you need to start with johnsonroyals.com. And our website has all kinds of information there, things that you need to know. We also have an app that is hopefully going to be updated this week. It still needs to change seasons. It's still hanging on to last year's season. But if you go to the App Store, type in Johnson Royals, you'll find our app. That is a great way to follow games. You can get the live streams there. You can see all of our schedules. Everything that you need to know about the Johnson Royals is probably there. But then our website has even more information in it. So a couple of things that is happening on the website. We officially launched our fan zone. Right?
Yep.
What would people find, Logan, in the fan zone?
So the fan zone is going to be just really anything that you might be interested in as a fan. It'll have general information about the athletic department. That's where you can access our kids club, Little Royals Club, and just general information for the fan side of athletics.
Yeah. Also new to our website is this section called Get Involved. All kinds of things there, including the Royal Allies. It's a place where we are launching. We announced this. Well, we announced the Royal Allies. We also announced the launch of the Royals Club. which is a benefit program that we are now doing. That's where you can get to it as well. So there's several things on get involved. Is there anything else there that you can think of, Logan, we need to highlight?
Get involved is mostly Royals Club and Royal Allies. That's also where you're going to go if you want to sponsor us in any way. It's got all the information you need to know there. So anyone that's interested in sponsorships, there's more information on that side as well.
Yeah, or if you wanted to make a donation just to give back to the athletic program in any way, shape, or form, that's the place to go. Is right there. So right now, I guess the other things that are going on, obviously, we're in the middle of practice. We do have a few events coming up, but we're not quite to game schedule yet. We'll definitely be announcing some games come next week. We hope that this preseason again, it's come and gone so fast, and starting next week as we move into the next segment, you're going to start hearing a lot more information in this section. Next week we will start our previews for our fall sports. We will begin with women's soccer and be talking with Coach Halliburton there, Todd Halliburton, and really kind of focusing in on that. And you'll start to hear more about, like, here are the games that are coming up, things that you want to kind of keep an eye out for. So we'll be right back with Coach Bryon Lawhon and women's basketball. Well, we're back, and we are here with Coach Bryon Lawhon. Coach, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, so we're excited to have you here, get to talk about a huge season that you guys had this past year, becoming the first program in Johnson history to win a regular season championship. So walk us through. Let's start out, though, going back and talk a little bit about your background, like what brought you to Johnson? Like, tell us a little bit of your backstory, how you got here.
Well, I was at Bryan College before here, AAC foe for 10 years, as you know, and had some pretty good success on the women's side. I was assistant on men's, women's, which is where you and I made our relationship, and out recruiting the same kids a lot of times, and just built that relationship with you, and end up becoming the head women's coach. And then, my last season at Bryan as the head women's coach, we were number 9 in the nation, only undefeated team in the country, broke every team record. You could probably 18 absolutely. Team records, and, had a good year. And then that summer, you called me.
Right.
And what was funny is you called me about another applicant.
Yeah, because you had an incredible year. I never dreamed that this is where we're going to be at. I was like, he ain't leaving now for sure. So we've talked about that for years. But anyways.
So, I was the chair of our coaches in the league, and you knew I knew the coaches, and we had that conversation. And what's funny is, when I tell the story to other people, is you called me the next day.
Yeah.
And the first thing I answered the phone and said was, the introvert's calling me again.
Yeah.
And you said, funny, you know me that well.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
And that was, it was just it was meant to be. But before that, I told everybody, Johnson is somewhere that was always on my radar. I don't know why. It's just somewhere I felt God had put on my heart for a long time. And I'd actually been called before by the previous athletic director, and things just didn't work out, and offered me the job then. And I decided to stay as an assistant at Bryan at the time. But when you called, things were a little different. Yeah. And a lot different.
Yeah.
And, the relationship we had made it make even more sense.
Absolutely.
And I just felt this is the time.
Yeah.
And, coming off that incredible season, we Sweet 16 in the national tournament, lost to the eventual national champion. I had no intention of leaving that team. I had most of my girls coming back and had built incredible relationships. That was the hardest part of it all.
Sure.
To come and working with you and coming to Johnson was really, at the end of the day, a no-brainer. It was just leaving my girls there, and I had a mentor I talked to at the time who gave me wonderful advice.
Yeah.
And he said, Bryon, if your heart wants to be there, it's where you need to be, and you need to realize those girls will graduate, and you're still going to be there.
Yeah.
He said, you need to go where you feel led, and if it's where God leads you, it's where you need to be.
Yeah.
And it didn't take any time after that conversation, which I already knew in my heart what I felt like I needed to do, but that conversation with him kind of solidified it. And, we talked again the next day and set up a time when I got back from vacation and came in that morning, and I already knew when I walked in the doors what I was going to say. And I brought my sons with me who were still in high school. All three of them were in high school at the time still. And they were kind of hesitant at first. That's why I brought them, because, they grew up, 10 years ago. That's where they grew up. And I'll never forget, we walked through the front doors of the lobby, and we didn't make it past the lobby. And two of them looked at me and said, "Dad, you got to take the job." So bringing them was kind of the solidifier. And, and obviously we had a great conversation, you, I, and Dana, and it was just meant to be. I just felt like this was where I was led to be. It
is funny when you talk about our relationship, and I don't know how many people know this, but we know each other from recruiting. Mm-hmm. Obviously, that was a big deal. And I remember so vividly walking in, and especially when we started out, right? Like, people didn't know Johnson basketball very well. So I'm trying, and you just mentioned it, I'm an introvert. I do not want to have relationships and talk. I'm good with it, but it takes me a minute to get warmed up to somebody. And every time I'd walk into a game, I'm like, "Daggone it, there's Bryon. What's he doing?" So I've always tried to, how do I work around this guy who really had taken a hold of Knoxville for Bryan College in a lot of ways. Like, y'all had a ton of Knoxville recruits at Bryan.
Yeah, we tried. My number one thing when I took over as an assistant on the men's side was I wanted to lock down the Knoxville area. Yeah. And I'll never forget, I went to Oak Ridge for one of my first visits as introducing myself, and Coach Green at Oak Ridge, he sat down, he said, "It's about time somebody got here." He said, we need somebody local here to come get our kids, and we want to keep them here. So when he told me that, it just kind of set something inside of me that to this day I still go through, and I want to lock down Knoxville.
Yeah, absolutely. All of us. I mean, that's a big piece of just who we are, for sure.
Especially now in Knoxville.
So no, it's so interesting. People don't recognize. I think sometimes we all talk on the coaching trail.
Absolutely.
We have relationships, and we may fight a little bit on the court or whatever, but we have these relationships built. It's pretty interesting how those things develop.
Yeah.
I think over time. So, well, you take over Johnson, and tell us a little bit about your vision you put into place when you got here.
Well, before we got here, I think it won 3 games the year before, and none in the conference. So we had a lot of a lot of room to catch up on, and a lot of ground to cover, really. Yeah. But that was okay. I knew coming here that I was going to be allowed to do those things with your guidance and your blessings, and we just had enormous opportunities, I thought. I'll never forget, when I took the job, I was in Louisville, Kentucky. I had to wait a day to go to the biggest AAU women's event in the nation, and we announced it the day it started, so I waited a day to go into, because I didn't want to go in one day with one hat on and the next day with another one. And, we made the announcement, and I remember walking in, and my gosh, I probably had 300 people come up to me that day asking, what happened? Why'd you leave? What happened here? And I had to explain to every one of them the vision. Yeah. I know what I left. I helped build what I left, and I know where we're at, and I know where that's going to be. And the vision was simple. Bring the kids here. Yeah. Get them on campus. Get them to our facilities. Let everybody know who Johnson University is. Yeah. As not just an athletic department, not just as a women's basketball team, but as a school. It was very important to me that people knew who Johnson University was as a whole. And I thought that number one was the thing, was getting us out there and letting them know who we were as a university, then as our basketball program and our athletic department. We did that, and we did it quick. Our first elite camp, we had 98 kids in attendance. And I think we had two and a half weeks to get that thing on the going. And
it was quick.
It was wild. It was wild. I remember everybody's faces around here was like almost in panic, seeing so many people around. But we did a lot of work, and I knew if we got the kids here and we got the families here on campus, the rest of it was going to be easy. Yeah. The education part of it, easy to sell. The campus, easy to sell. Facilities, easy to sell. Now what we had to do, we have to sell ourselves as coaches and where we're going to be. The vision was win. Win on and off the court. When we took over, we didn't want to just win on the floor. We wanted to win off the floor.
Yeah.
And that was something I think we had to change the culture a little bit. I think the GPA wasn't where we wanted it to be for us, and I know not where you wanted it either. And we ended up bringing that thing up the first year, I think a full point almost.
Yeah.
Just getting the right kids. It's nothing that Coach Lawhon does.
Right.
I'll tell you that every kid I got's smarter than me. Right. But it was getting the right kids, it's getting the right families, it's getting the right fits. And I knew as soon as we started getting the right kids in, and we had a short time to recruit, so the first year we only brought a couple kids in that we could just find late. But the first recruiting class, we really focused heavy in on who are the best players in Tennessee that are attainable for us.
Yeah.
And then let's go find out who they are. We got to pinpoint the talent first, and then we got to figure out who they are.
Yeah.
And then we find out who they are. How do we do that? We make phone calls to people that know them, that we know, that we trust, and we go on their social medias. We do all this background check, and then we talk to the families.
Yeah.
And we find out, are they good fits for our school, first and foremost? And then if they're a good fit for the school, they're going to be a good fit for our program.
Yeah.
And that was big. And I think that first recruiting class was so massive.
Yeah.
And we found so many good kids in that class, and not just players, but just good people that believed and bought in to the vision. And, by year 3, here we are winning a conference championship regular season. Yeah. And, I think it's a little quicker than even I mean, of course, I had on the outside, we're going to do this thing fast, but I was a little surprised that by year 3, 2 recruiting classes, here we are.
Yeah.
But it's a testament to the kids. They come in and they do what they're asked and go about business.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think one of the things you touched on there, talking about, and you just invested in players, right? I mean, it wasn't just about you said, I think your wording was, you had to find out they could play first, and then you found out who they are, right? And I don't know if people fully understand that piece of what college coaching, especially small college coaching, and especially even more so at a Christian small college environment, like being able to connect people. So tell us a little bit, like, what does your summer schedule look like?
Oh my, it doesn't stop. A lot of, from the outside looking in, I think a lot of people think us coaches, we come and coach games, and we show up to practice and we work an hour a day, and then we go home and we play with the kids and the grandkids, and that's it. And my gosh, there's nothing further from the truth than that. I mean, coaches, especially at our level, we're building community. Yeah. And we're building relationships. I can't tell you every summer how many weddings I go to now. Those are the highlights. But in summers, you're still recruiting all summer long. You're wrapping up the previous year's class, and then as soon as that's wrapped up, you're starting your next year's class, and even the following year after that's class. And you're traveling, trying to find these kids, and you're doing your research, finding out who these kids are, and making sure they're going to fit. And you go to tournaments, and you come in and do your workouts a couple of days a week, and you make sure you're keeping your team in line. You're going to have to do grade checks. You got to make sure everybody's schedule's in line. You got to make sure financial aid's in line. You got to make sure admissions are all done. I mean, all of these things. And, coaches wear a lot of hats. We go in between, admissions, financial aid, student life, and because we're the easiest point of contact for those. And we understand that. We're going to get things done a lot quicker probably than the representative can, So, and I encourage our financial aid, our admissions, our student life. If our girls are missing anything or anything's going on, call me. I encourage them to do that. And so, those things take up a lot of your summer. And then you try to fit in time with your family and try to recharge your batteries. I tell our kids at the end of every year, I want them to take a few weeks off. Yeah. Because we need to recharge our batteries. Absolutely. I need to recharge mine. We're human beings. We need a break. We need a break from each other sometimes. And that doesn't mean we don't love each other. It just means we need a little break. Basketball is a long season.
Yeah, it is.
And you spend a lot of time with people in close quarters a lot of times. And, I think it's healthy to be able to take a break and say, I love you, but I need a second too.
Space. Yeah.
And I think that recharges your batteries, not just on basketball, but also in your relationships.
Yeah, absolutely. So you get into your first year, obviously, was a little bit tough. Obviously, you're taking over a program. Second year, you definitely built on that. Mm-hmm. Walking into this past year, what do you think was where was the turning point for you? Where was the moment where you're like, man, maybe we got something here?
Well, going from, like I said, before we got here 3, then the first year was 10 wins, and then the second year was 17, and this past year was 24 wins. There's been moments every season where I've been like, okay, I think this is clicking a little bit. This past season, it probably came in a loss. We were playing Bethel here at our Christmas Classic we held this year, which Bethel went on to be in the Final Four of the national tournament.
Yeah.
And we were winning that game for 3.5 quarters. And, our leading scorer ends up fouling out and things happen, and we just let it slip by. But in that loss, I remember sitting in the locker room, and I am a terrible loser. If anybody knows me, I am the world's worst loser. But that was one time, I think, in a loss, I sat down and thought, okay, this team could do something special. Yeah. This team will not have it. Because we walk in the locker room and there's people upset, visibly upset, and there's girls that are wanting to do more, and it just was not accepting that loss.
Yeah.
And I think once you see that it personally matters, that loss, you have something you can work with.
Yeah. Absolutely. Well, fast forward a little bit. I mean, you come down the stretch at the end, had really, really good momentum going in. Definitely going into that last game, we're sitting there thinking, oh man, we got a shot at winning this thing.
Yeah.
Which was wild in and of itself that we ended up in that position. Talk to us a little bit about what that meant. I mean, you obviously had some girls who'd been here from the start.
Yeah.
And what did that mean to them?
I'll go back. I told you that each year you see little things. That first year with that team, they didn't know what they were getting when it first happened. But we started winning a couple of games with that team, and I remember winning that last game with them and going in the locker room and just seeing their faces and how proud they were of themselves. And, to me it was a rough season because I wasn't used to that, but
sure.
To them it was 3 times as many games as they had won before. And to see that moment, and them hugging me and telling me how much they appreciated me. And the reality is they helped me become a better coach too, because I had to get out of my comfort zone.
Yeah.
So you have a few of those kids left, and then last year I think was our last group with Kyra and them. And Kyra Bunton will always be a part of my coaching story.
Yeah.
Will always be a part of my coaching story, and we could go into that, but we won't. She knows how special she is to me, and you and I have talked about this.
Oh, 100%.
You helped me through a lot of stuff and helped me open my eyes to some things on a personal level as well. And to watch that kid come back and not know if she was going to play or not, and the leadership that she had all year long.
Yeah.
In a position where I'm a senior, I was here and I got to play this so much my freshman year, and here I am as a senior, not playing as much as I did as a freshman, but still coming in every day. And she would say, Coach, I just want to win. I just want to win a championship.
Yeah.
That's all I wanted. She just wanted to cement her legacy in Johnson University women's basketball.
Yeah.
And she did.
100%.
And one of the best leaders I've ever coached. Our whole team went to her, and seeing that on her face and what it meant to her, and then getting the text messages from former players after winning the championship, ones that you sometimes don't know that you made an impact with or made any kind of, and you get those text messages that they're so proud of what's happening and proud of what has become. It kind of fuels you a little more to want to do more and be better for them.
Yeah.
Because I told that first team from day one, you're laying the foundation for any success we have in the future.
Yeah.
And I wanted them to know you're always welcome here. And this is always home. And getting those text messages kind of made that moment real.
Yeah. I'm not going to avoid this subject. You had a rough at the end. Injuries just got you.
Oh, my gosh.
I mean, it built up.
Yeah.
And it didn't end the way you wanted it.
No, it did not. I mean, we had won, I think, 11, 12 games in a row to end the season, or 10 games along those lines. And you go into the last game, and my gosh, our leading scorer gets hurt, gets absolutely just murdered on the baseline. And I remember I talked to referees before the game. I said, listen, here's a couple of things. Got a conference championship on the line here. Start conference tournament next week. We're in line to win this thing. And we win it, we're going to make national tournament. Please don't let any of my kids get hurt.
Yeah.
And my gosh. That happened, and it's the only time in my head coach I blew a gasket. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah.
Because one, my kid got hurt, and two, I just saw we can't. I didn't know how we was going to replace that.
Sure.
And I knew it was bad, and all these things were coming, and it wasn't for me. I want these things for our kids.
Right.
Like I said, I'm a terrible loser, but that's not why. That's not my why of winning.
Yeah.
My why of winning is because I want everybody to know how great my kids are. I want them to know like I know how great my kids are. And I feel like that gives them an avenue to be seen.
Yeah.
And, she goes down and she gets hurt. We win the game, co-champions of the regular season still, make it a conference tournament. She's still out. All of a sudden, our second leading scorer, who arguably was the heart and soul of our team, Jordan Hefner, goes and she gets sick. Yeah. I mean, sick, and she can't play. So now I'm down my leading scorer, our second leading scorer. Well, the night before, the backup point guard who was going to start for Jordan gets flu A at the 105-degree temperature. I have to call her parents at midnight to drive 2 hours to come pick her up.
Yeah.
And then we go into the game, and then our backup to the leading scorer has a concussion. And we go in that game, and it was the ugliest game of basketball. I think we set the game of basketball back 100 years in that game, which was something we weren't used to that type of play. And we had the shock of not having the two kids who we leaned on all season. I mean, they were first-team all-conference kids.
Yeah.
That's going to kill anybody, and we lose in the second round of the conference tournament. We still get to the nationals, but we still don't have –
not the same team.
We're not the same team.
Yeah.
I'm starting two freshmen that one's never started. I'm starting another guard that hadn't started all year. And no excuses, but, first time a program's at a national tournament, you're playing a team that had just come off if I'm not mistaken, Elite Eight run the year before, and then ended up making another Elite Eight run this year.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you're not at full speed. You just walk in and say, I just want the experience.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, but also you want, something changed in that moment. Mm-hmm. Win or lose, you make a national tournament for the first time in school history. Mm-hmm. There's something there that all of a sudden is different because now it becomes an expectation, right?
Yes, it does. I mean, we don't talk about goals very often in our program. We talk about standards because goals are who you want to be. Standards are who you are.
Yeah.
And when we took over, obviously the goal was we want to be the champions of this league. We want to make national tournaments. We've done that. Now that's the standard. Our goals were we want to have a 3.25 GPA as a team. We're at a 3.5 GPA as a team. It's the standard.
Yeah.
Goals become standards, and standards are who you are. Yeah. And you're right. It changed, and I'm okay with that. And I think the girls that we have and the ones that are coming in that are really interested in our program, they want to win.
Yeah.
And they know if they come here, there's that chance that they're going to get to win.
Yeah. We'll shift gears a little bit too. Let's talk a little bit about what it's like playing here at Johnson, and tell us a little bit about your coaching style. What are the things that are your non-negotiables?
Non-negotiables, first and foremost, is being a great teammate.
Yeah.
We talk about our pillars every day, and great teammates is one we say last, but it's the absolute first. And I tell our girls, I'm not going to explain to them what a great teammate is. I want them to think what a great teammate would be to them, and I need them to go be it to 16 other girls on that team.
Yeah.
And if they do that, they can't go wrong.
Yeah.
So first and foremost, that's a non-negotiable. Mm-hmm. The second one is you can't be a selfish player and play for me. You cannot be about yourself and play for me, because I say it a million times a year. I don't care who scores. I don't care who gets a shot. I care about us scoring. I care about us getting a shot.
Yeah.
I don't care whose girl scored. I care that they scored.
Yeah.
And because everything we do is we win and we lose together. We go the highs and lows together. Those are two of the biggest non-negotiables I think that would be in our program. Is my coaching style. I like to think I'm a player's coach. I know people on the outside probably watch me sometime and think, man, he's intense. And I am intense on game day. Very intense. I'm a big guy. My voice carries. I'm loud. But the thing is my kids know that I love them wholeheartedly.
Yeah.
And they allow me to coach them in a way that they want me to get the best out of them, I believe. And they allow that. And, you know, I don't go over there and acting crazy or anything like that, but I am intense because I want everybody to see how great our girls are. Yeah. And that's just important to me. And I just think that once we're not in practice or in games, I'm probably the most transparent coach a lot of these kids have ever been across, and I definitely care about them as much as anybody in their lives, not just a coach, just anybody in their lives. And I think most of our kids know that, and they come back and they talk, and we have those relationships once the playing days are over, and that's what matters most to me.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I mean, again, coming off really 2 great seasons, I mean, really 3 great seasons. But coming off of these seasons, and now you've made this tournament, obviously, your philosophies are important to you. Your pillars are important to you. Being a great teammate, all that stuff. How do you keep kids focused on that? I mean, it's easy for a kid to think, well, no, now I've arrived, right? Yeah. And to kind of lose focus on what matters most.
You know, I think it comes back to the trust factor of letting me coach them.
Yeah.
I think when we build that relationship during the recruiting process and during the time we have together on the court and the times off the court when they're seeing the real me and they get to see my heart.
Yeah.
I think that moment of trust where I can sit down and have a real and honest conversation with these kids, I think that's what helps us the most in keeping that grounded. Because it is very easy to get there and say, oh, I've arrived. But man, you can be knocked off just as quickly. Yeah. And I need our kids to be hungry every day. And we talk about we've not arrived to where we ultimately want to be, but we're in a much better place than we were. But it can all be taken away. And I think being able to have those conversations and those kids trusted me enough to listen and believe in what we're saying and what we're doing, it helps that a lot.
Good. Yeah, that's awesome. What do you, again, great seasons. You're going into this class. What excites you about this incoming class?
Man, we've got some freshmen that are coming in that this summer have just absolutely exceeded my expectations. I thought we got some good kids in. But, man, the work ethic, the desire, the hunger in these young kids that are going to push the returners is something else. And the transfer we brought in is going to be a huge impact for us this year. As a kid, I've never coached a kid like her, and I'm looking forward to that. I think it's going to rise us another level. But I think our returners, the ones that are returned, know who we are. I'm not having to teach who we are anymore. Yeah. And that responsibility lies on our returners now. Yeah. And I think it's a lot easier when they get to pass it down than me trying to teach everybody who we are. And that excites me as much as anything. I'm seeing relationships being made this summer, bonds being made just in an hour twice a week with each other. And I'm really excited to see our returners investing so much into our new players and teaching them our culture. And I know, and I've said this, I think I said to you in our interview whenever we first got together about this job, when I can let our players run this program culture-wise, we are going to be in a really good place. Yeah. And I think we have made a huge turn, and that's where we're at.
Good. Well, obviously, Johnson University, Christian Christian institution. It's part of who we are. How do you go about integrating faith into what you do as a team? It's not an easy task.
It's not an easy task. And, especially, you have kids that are in classes all day, and their classes are faith-based, and they go to chapel, and they do all this stuff. And sometimes, they're 18 to 21-year-old kids.
Yeah.
And sometimes they need a refresh minute, like, oh, my gosh, is this going to be just thrown at me again? And that's perfectly normal.
Mm-hmm.
But these kids, they embrace it with each other. We've set a culture on the faith aspect where we do have a spiritual captain. Every team has a team captain.
Yeah.
And one thing I'd done even before I was at Johnson was I appointed a spiritual captain.
Yeah.
And I work early on with a spiritual captain, and they will get together our team devos. We do team devos twice a month, once every other Sunday. And it's completely team-led. I'm not in there. Coaching staff's not in there. It's a moment for them to be with people their own age. Maybe they'll ask questions that they're not comfortable asking me or you about. And, that's normal. Yeah. It's normal to not feel comfortable enough to ask an adult sometimes in the room that question. Or maybe they feel like it'll be silly if they ask us. But what I found is they're way more vulnerable with each other.
Yeah.
And I think that's been a huge positive for us in our program is we've got the spiritual captain, and she has somebody that works with her, and she's training the next spiritual captain. So we do that, and I'll provide them some food to have their devos with or something like that, and they're not optional. I mean, but our girls really look forward to those. Yeah. They'll talk about them for a week in advance. And just talk about what they're going to do, where they're going to go, and of course, Coach, what are you going to feed us?
Right. They all care about the food.
Absolutely. But that's one thing we do. And we sit and we talk as a team about faith, and we're very open about who we are, about our shortcomings as well as who we are whenever we do things the right way.
Yeah.
And I think it's important that we accept when we fall short in anything.
Yeah. And
be able to just accept it. And I think it's the only way we grow.
Yeah. Well, I think it's beautiful to be in a spot where, I don't know, I also went to a faith-based institution, and it feels like, you're in Bible classes all day, you're in chapel, you're in all these things. But it's one thing to have it like taught to you. Mm-hmm. It's another thing when you see it lived out.
Yes.
And I think that's the beauty of what team brings.
I agree, and I think as a coach, and I tell recruits and their parents this all the time, and our girls, I feel like that's another part of bringing the faith in is I have to be a good example of what a husband and a father looks like.
Yeah.
And it's important to me, and I tell all these families and all these kids all these years, if you can walk away when you graduate and you can say, I loved what Coach Lawhon did this with his wife or with his kids or in his faith, and they can take it and try to find that in their future husband, man, what a compliment that is. And if you do that, I think you've made the ultimate impact on a kid. And, I try to keep that in mind. I talk to these kids like I do my own daughter. And I treat them like I want people to treat my children at home. Very rarely you hear me call them my players. They're called my girls.
Yeah.
All the time. And because I look at them as such, and I think it's very important that they see something in me that helps them in their faith, but also helps them find someone in that mold later on in life as well.
Yeah. So, rapid fire, couple of questions here. Favorite post-game meal?
If you ask my girls, I say Subway, but we're doing a Subway boycott this year.
That's pre-game, though, right? Post-game.
Well, it depends. Are we winning or losing?
Yeah.
I think when we're at home, we do pizza a lot.
Yeah.
It's easy and quick.
Yeah, there you go. So, most memorable play from this past season?
Oh, man. I think it's when Jordan puts us on her back at Montreat and kind of wills us to a win down there, and just you've seen her do it a few times this year, but that one, she just wasn't going to lose. And the team kind of just said, oh, we're coming with you.
Yeah, which was a tough environment.
Oh my gosh,
that you went into. I mean, for those who don't know, that was the very first game back from they had after their gym had basically been destroyed from the hurricanes, which was
a travesty.
Unbelievable. But then you go into that environment and have to play at the same time, which is not easy.
No, it was an emotional game on their part, and that gym's really small. And if you put 100 people
really loud,
you put 100 people in there, it sounds like there's 10,000 people in there.
Yeah.
You know that.
Yeah.
So I think her just strapping up and pulling us, and then everybody kind of following suit.
Yeah.
That was kind of a special moment.
Yeah. Favorite basketball movie?
Blue Chips.
Really?
Yes.
That is not an answer I was expecting. You and Coach Sharp both gave different answers, so no Hoosiers here on your all's.
Oh, man. I mean, Hoosiers is good, but Blue Chips is they got all the stars in that movie.
Yeah, there you go. All right. The player who kept the locker room the lightest this year.
Oh, man, we got a couple of those. Becca Gardner, probably.
Yeah.
I mean, she's a goofball.
One word that describes Johnson women's basketball culture.
Family.
And what does it mean to you being a Royal?
It means a lot. I mean, simply put, it means you come in and you represent something bigger than yourself. Mm-hmm. You know, you're representing Christ, you're representing your university, you're representing your team. But most importantly, you're representing yourself in those manners. Mm-hmm. And I think there's a great pride in being a Royal and where we're at now and where you've led us. It's a special time, and I think it brings a great sense of pride to be a Royal at this time.
Yeah. Well, Coach, you got this one moment right here. Fans out there who are interested in Johnson women's basketball, what message would you give to any fans, any students, any alumni out there that they need to hear?
I would just tell them, come watch our product. Yeah. Come see our kids. Get to know our kids.
Yeah.
I think once you get to know our kids, it's a whole lot easier to want to support them because then you love them.
Yeah.
I would encourage any alumni, please come back. Come back and see us. Come to a practice. Come to games. Make arrangements to come here. Get a hold of me. I'll be more than happy to have you. Or if you just want to chit-chat on the phone, give me a call. I'll let you know all the great things that we're doing. Just come by and see all the great things that's happening in Johnson Athletics. It's not just women's basketball. It's our whole program. And I would invite any alumni and anybody interested just to come and check us out and get to know our people. And I think if once they do, it's easy to support.
Yeah. Coach, it's good to have you.
I appreciate it.
Appreciate having you on, and we're looking forward to watching those girls play this year. Absolutely. We'll be right back.
Everywhere you look, you can find unexpected things that make you smile. Little reminders to care for your heart. At Covenant Health, we bring more heart to more places. That means more locations, advanced treatments, and expert physicians. Because we know your heart beats for more than just you. It beats for the people, moments, and dreams that matter most. More heart in more places for you. Covenant Health. Let our strength be yours.
Well, we're back. Thank you to Coach Lawhon again for that great interview that time. It's also hilarious to me that we did this intro and spent a long time talking about community, and then here Coach Lawhon in our interview talks about the importance of community with his team. Right? I don't know. I just thought that was interesting. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, what'd you guys think?
I really enjoyed having him on. I think he had a lot of really interesting things to say, and really just got to know him better as a coach, and I enjoyed that. Yeah,
Coach Lawhon is interesting to get to know because he's one of those guys, and I have this issue too a little bit, but he's a big dude, so 6'7", I believe, and you would think a little bit intimidating, but then you get to know him, and he's just a teddy bear. That's really all he is when it comes down to it. But it was good. That's why I love these interviews, is to be able to see the other side, to understand that it isn't just about the games. It's not just about winning. It is also about the passion they have for these players. Yeah. So, well, just a couple of final thoughts. Again, we've got more coming up in this next week. And again, these segments are about to change. Remember that we will be interviewing the women's soccer team. We'll probably have a player or two on next week. We'll interview with Coach Halliburton as well. So the whole format of this podcast is going to change a little bit. And we're excited about what that's going to look like. And we hope that you join us next week here on the Royal Insider. Thanks.